welcome to your gentle flow and your deep stretch class. My name's Laura Beth. I think we all know that by now. But you're going to have a strap, maybe a big pillow or a bolster, maybe a couple of blocks or things that you can use that are similar to a block. If you would like to go ahead and start up your music, now's a good spot. Then I'm going to have you lie down on your back. Take your time. You could extend your legs forward and let your feet hang comfortably open. So we're starting off in an opening shavasana today. Your arms can come down by the side body, the palms face up. You relax your shoulders back and down from your ears, and maybe you close your eyes. It's a beautiful morning out there. I don't know if y'all have been out yet or not. So if you're lying here, maybe you close down your eyes for a brief second and relax your brows. You could even take your index and your middle finger and kind of rub that spot right between your brows onto the bridge of your nose, and then press back up. And then trace your brows with your fingers. I want you to really release that spot where we draw all of our worry, all of our concern and whatnot into that little space between the brows where we kind of knit them together. I want you to let them fall away from one another. So you relax. Wiggle your jaw from side to side. And then set your breath. So on your inhale, let your belly expand. Your breath travels all the way up to your rib cage, where your rib cage will open. Your lungs go to full capacity, and then you exhale to let that breath back out. You empty your lungs completely, finishing that exhale before you start the next inhale. And then you breathe in. Know that you're breathing in. And you breathe out. Know that you're breathing out. 2 more just like that. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Your next inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Take a full body stretch. Maybe you roll out your wrists and your ankles. Go in both directions. And as you exhale, nice and slow, draw your knees in towards your chest, wrap your arms around your shins. You can kind of rock side to side. Just let everything feel good here for a moment. I turn my face in the opposite direction from my knees so that I get that baby kind of twist. And I come back into center. I'm going to have you bring your left foot down to the ground, but your right knee stays bent. Relax your shoulders back and down. And then press your right foot up to the sky and flex your right foot. Relax your shoulders back and down. I am interlacing my fingers around my right hamstring, and I'm just going to kind of, you can either take it with your knuckles with the hands separated, or you can keep your fingers interlaced and just rub your hands up and down the back side of your right leg. I like the rubbing of the knuckles. I think it feels good. It releases my hamstring, gets into the fascia, which a lot of the times we think our muscles are tight or that we are lacking in flexibility. And a lot of times it's the fascia, the stuff that kind of, that thin skin over all of your muscles that is actually tight. So we rub, we get in there, and we warm. Good. Maybe you bring your leg in a little bit closer to you. And then slowly release so that you can bend your right knee into a half happy baby. So peace fingers around your right big toe. Your right knee comes in towards your armpit, your thigh towards the ground in a parallel kind of space. And you flex your right foot up towards the sky. So what we're doing here is that sometimes in a full-on happy baby, it's not quite approachable. But doing one side at a time might make it a little bit easier to get into. Yeah? So relax your shoulders from your ears. If you're just joining us, you're fine. You haven't missed much. So unroll your mat and lay down and do the things. Yeah? Take one more inhale. And on the exhale, take your right ankle over your left knee or your left thigh. You're in a figure four and just gently press your right knee away from you. Keep your low back down to the ground. Good. And you just breathe in here, and then if and when you're ready, you could come into a reclined pigeon. Draw your left knee or thigh in towards your chest. Keep your right foot flexed. Relax your shoulders back and down. So your collarbones are still lifting. They're still separating. And both feet are slightly flexed. You kind of nuzzle your right forearm into your right inner thigh, and you breathe in, and you know that you're breathing in. You breathe out. You know that you're breathing out. Good, y'all. Take one more inhale right here. And on the exhale, release your hands from your left thigh, but cross your right leg completely over the left. So this is an early cow face pose, Gomukhasana. Bring your hands to your knees or your shins and just draw your thighs in towards your chest while flexing your feet. And get into the outer right hip. Good. Warming up here a little bit. So like you're trying to take your legs out like handlebars. It's early, so your IT bands are probably not going to allow you to do that. But that's just kind of the directional pull that you're moving towards, right? Take one more inhale. On the exhale, release. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Now bring your big toes to touch and your hands onto your kneecaps. So your big toes will stay touching, but as you inhale, open your knees out. You're drawing circles on the ceiling. And as you exhale, draw your knees back together. So you're drawing circles on the ceiling with your knees, but this is actually giving you a rotation in the ball and socket joint of your hip, right? And the next time you come back through center, take an inhale, and then go in the opposite direction. Good, y'all. It's okay if you feel or sound a little bit crunchy. I do, right? As long as it's not painful, it's okay for now. And then your knees come back into center. Now drop your right foot down to the ground with your knees still bent. Hug your left thigh in towards your chest and then extend your left leg long. Flex your left toes once you get there. And then interlace your fingers around your left hamstring. Same thing applies. You could just rub your hands up and down the backside of your leg, or you take your two fists and you kind of rub your knuckles across. And I kind of go all the way to the outer thigh, the inner thigh. I go to the calf. Get into all the stuff here. You can also do like the little tapping, like just sending signals to your body that you're about to use it. You're about to do some stuff, right? Take one more inhale. Maybe you draw your leg in just a little bit closer. You could even have your left knee really bent here. And then you release as you exhale, but you're going to bend your left knee. Take peace fingers to your left big toe or your hand to the inner or outer arch of your foot. Flex your left foot towards the sky. And breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Your half happy baby. Some of you might notice, especially doing one side at a time, that your left knee or thigh comes down towards the ground without your right hip lifting up. Yeah? So I just did it, my right hip lifted up. But maybe it happens with the right hip staying down. One more inhale right here. On the exhale, place your left ankle across onto your right knee or thigh and let your left knee just hang open and flex your left foot. Root your low back down to the ground. You could stay right here. Enjoy this figure four. Pull your low belly in and up. If you want more on an exhale, bring your right thigh in towards your chest for your supine or reclined pigeon. A soft flex to both feet. Just enjoy the space here. And you'll take an inhale. On the exhale, cross your left knee over the right. So there's an internal rotation of your thighs. And then you let your heels kind of drop back down towards your sits bones. Your hands will grab knees, shins, whatever feels appropriate to you. Both feet are flexed and you draw your legs in towards your chest while keeping your low back flat. Good, y'all. And just breathe here. You don't have to go super deep. We're still just getting into all of this. So be okay with however it shows up. Take one more inhale. And then release to a full happy baby as you exhale. Peace fingers to both feet. Maybe it's hands to the inner or outer arch. Your elbows kind of pressing towards the knees. You can rock side to side. You do you, yeah? And then bring your legs back together. So, gonna offer something today that has just a little bit of movement to it. So they're baby cheese sit-ups. You can use your hands, y'all, right? So I'm going to show you the version where you use your hands. You press your palms down next to your hips. You've got to pull your navel towards your spine and keep your low back rounded so it doesn't slap against the mat as you move. It's the same thing like with our spinal rocks and rolls. You're going to inhale, lift your hips up. On the exhale, come forward, but bring the soles of your feet together. Press your palms together and reach your arms forward. So it's butterfly legs. So you inhale, round, close your knees, lift your hips. Exhale, come forward, the soles of your feet together. Press your palms and reach your arms forward. So I'm going to scoot back just a little bit. So you inhale, roll back. You're finding some supple sensation across your spine. On the exhale, you come forward and reach your arms forward. Let's take 3 more. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, using the hands if you need to. Exhale to come forward. Last one. Inhale, rock it back. Exhale to come forward, press your palms, reach your arms forward. Your gaze is just down in front of your toes. And then let your hands come down to the ground and just enjoy this butterfly pose for a moment. Awesome. Let your knees hang open. Your chest is going to drape down towards the ground. Relax your shoulders back and down. And then as you're ready, bring your shoulders back up over your hips and just cross your right leg in front of the left. Sit up nice and tall. Roll your shoulders back and down. Now if you notice that your knees are up really high towards your chest, you can sit on your pillow. And so that your hips kind of tip forward. You could sit on the edge of a block. Same thing. On your inhale, reach your arms up overhead. On the exhale, drop your hands down to your knees. Roll your shoulders back. Now as you inhale, roll your chest forward. So it's like a seated cow pose. And on the exhale, tuck your tail, arch your upper back, and tuck your chin. So it's like a cat pose. Inhale, rock forward, roll your shoulders back, melt your chest forward. Exhale, reverse the movement. Tuck your navel, tuck your tail, tuck your chin, and arch your upper back. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. Lift your chin. Exhale, tuck it all in. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Inhale, rock back to just a traditional seated position. And exhale, roll your shoulders back and down. Inhale, reach your arms out and up, look up. As you exhale, drop your left hand down and reach your right arm up and over. Stretch through the right side of your body. Keep your right hip heavy. Inhale, reach your arms back to the sky. And on the exhale, take your right hand down and lift your left arm up and over. Bow out through the left side of your body. Inhale, both arms high. Exhale, your left arm down, right arm up and over. Inhale, reach like you mean it. And then exhale, take your right hand down and reach your left arm up. Good, y'all. And you inhale, come back to center. Reach your arms high. On the exhale, twist to the left. Let your right hand find your left thigh, your left hand behind your left hip. Remember to keep your spine long and your shoulders over your hips. Maybe you gaze over your left shoulder. On your inhale, come back to the center. Reach your arms high. As you exhale, twist to the right. Your left hand to your right thigh, your right hand behind the right hip. Open up your chest. One more round each side. Inhale, both arms high. Exhale, twist to the left. Just working all these spinal movements. Getting the kinks out before we move a little bit more. Inhale, rotate front and center, arms high. Exhale, twist to the right. Roll your shoulders back. Then you inhale, come right back front and center. Reach your arms high like you mean it. Exhale, bring your hands down. Press back into a box pose just for a brief moment. Stack your knees underneath your hips. Your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists. Pull your navel in and up. Now walk your hands a little bit forward, very slightly. Press down into the webbing between your thumb and your forefinger. Take an inhale. As you exhale, lift your hips up and back. And find your downward facing dog. So your feet might be about hip width distance apart. Hands might be shoulder width. If you get into that space and you're like, it doesn't feel quite right, something's off, then you move it around until you find the spot that you can breathe easily in, right? Now, downward facing dog can be challenging, so that doesn't mean that this should just feel easy, because that's not the case. So just breathe. Maybe you roll to the balls of your feet and then drop one heel down, bend the opposite knee. Walking your dog, alternating the lifted heel. Good, y'all. Now as you inhale, take a soft bend to your knees, look forward. On the exhale, as many or as few steps as you need, take your feet to your hands at the top of your mat. Inhale to your halfway lift. So this is a space where you could have two blocks underneath your hands so that you can tabletop your back. And then you exhale, hinge at your hips, drape your chest to your thighs. Good. Now I'm going to heel toe my feet together. You don't have to. You could leave them about hip width distance apart. On the inhale, bend your knees, sit your hips low, reach your arms high, and find your first chair pose. So your gaze, if you take it down, your toes are visible in front of your knees. So you might have to sit this back and down a little bit. Now I want you to just find some pulsation kind of movement so you warm up your legs before we start to stretch them. If your legs are together, squeeze your inner thighs together. Good. And then once you're here, hold your chair pose. Inhale, lift your chest. On the exhale, take your heart forward. Reach your arms back. Your gaze is down in front of your toes. Inhale, arms high, knees bent. Exhale, heart forward, arms back, palms down. Last three, inhale, chair pose. Exhale, your heart forward. Last two, inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Take your chest to your thighs and drape your heart down. Now you could have blocks underneath your hands. On your inhale, take a halfway lift. As you exhale, step your left foot back, bend your right knee. And on your inhale, bring your shoulders over your hips, your arms up over your head. Now from here, if you already know, we're not going to be here for super long, but if your left knee down on the ground is just better for you, take your time and bring your left knee to the ground. Otherwise, take an inhale. On the exhale, cactus your elbows, but bend your left knee and soften it towards the ground. Inhale, straighten, squeeze your inner thighs together. Both legs are straight. Exhale, bend your knees, take your elbows back and down and lift your chest. If your back knee is on the ground, you're just doing the arms. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, bend and open. Last two, inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. This time on the inhale, just lift your arms, leave your right knee bent. And on the exhale, bring your hands to the ground or to your blocks and step your left foot forward to your forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bring your hands down so you can step your right foot back. Stay on the ball of your right foot if it's available to you. Bend your left knee. Come down to the right knee if you want to. Inhale, bring your shoulders over your hips, your arms up over your head. So you know where we're going. Settle in for a moment. Take an inhale. On the exhale, bend your back knee and take your elbows back and down, kind of like a goalpost. Inhale, straighten both legs and reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, bend it back down, elbows and knees. Inhale to lift. It's your last three. Exhale to bend. Last two, inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. This time on the inhale, only reach your arms up and lessen the bend in your right knee. And on the exhale, bring your hands down. Step your right foot forward and take a forward fold. Crown of your head down. Inhale to your halfway lift. This time on the exhale, step your left foot back and we all soften the left knee down to the ground. From there, if you have your blocks, you can keep your hands on your blocks. You're going to slide your right foot slightly over. So you're in a lizard lunge. And then slide your left knee back. So bring your hands to the ground. Roll your chest open. Just be here for a moment. Draw your low belly in and up. Once you feel kind of acclimated, you might take some hip circles here, something like that. You could also come down to your forearms, right? You don't have to, y'all. So anytime I say maybe you do this or there's an option to do that, if you get into it and you're like, that is just not for me, it's valid and it's all good, right? Now maybe you kind of roll out onto the outer edge of your right foot and really get into the inner thigh, the groin, all that stuff on your right leg. Feel it out. Pull your left hip slightly forward. Now what I'm going to offer you, you could bend your left knee and bring your heel in towards your glute. You could reach your right hand back and catch your left ankle and catch that quad stretch. If you don't quite have the hand to the foot yet, that's where your strap could come in. You could reach your strap back there. Loop it around your left foot or ankle. And then you can pull it up that way, right? So just find something that works for you. But try maybe opening your right shoulder if you're looking for the twist, or really squaring your shoulders off if you're going more for the quad. Right? So know what you're doing just so that you know what you're doing. Awesome, y'all. And then when you're ready to release out of that, you can get rid of your strap. Drop your left toes back down to the ground. And then from here, heel toe your right foot back to the center of your mat. On the inhale, pull your heart forward. As you exhale, shift your hips back and straighten your right leg. Flex your toes back towards your shin. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale to walk yourself forward. And then exhale, shift yourself back, straighten your right leg and flex your toes towards your shin. Last round, inhale and exhale. All right, so you're here. Extend your tail more towards the back of your mat while you flex your right toes towards your shin. And then allow for your collarbones to really reach towards your right ankle more than taking your nose towards your knee, right? And then from here, take an inhale. On the exhale, drop your left hand to the outside of your right foot so you're getting into your IT bands. Now watch your right pinky. It's going to try to maybe reach towards the top of your mat. I want you to keep flexing it back towards your shin. Ideally, you will feel a difference, right? Good, y'all. And keep pulling your right hip back and your left hip forward. And let your left hand come back down to the ground. Take an inhale. So you're going to stay right here. Now on the exhale, rotate your right big toe in like you're trying to flatten your right foot to the ground and take your outer arch parallel to the top of your mat. It doesn't have to happen, but just know that that's kind of the direction that you're moving in. You're stretching your IT band, you're stretching your ankle, the top of your right foot. If you do any other kind of physical activity, this is going to help, but it's probably going to feel humbling in this moment, right? Keep pulling your right hip back and your left hip forward. Good, y'all. Now rotate your right toes back up to the sky. And then lift your right heel and slide it over in front of your left knee, but keep your right hip pulling back. Take an inhale. Now this time as you exhale, take your right pinky toe to the ground, so you're flexing your right foot towards the top of your mat. You're more than welcome to have a bend in your knee. Breathe into it. I do these pretty frequently, and even I'm sweating right now, right? So it's okay if it's uncomfortable. It is not okay if it's painful. So my personal trainer friend and I, we talk about this a lot, that in yoga we say like, no pain, right? It's a very different mentality than any other kind of workout or any kind of physical therapy. Your yoga should not be painful. So make sure that it's not crossing that line from discomfort. And you rotate your toes back up to the sky. Slide your right foot back out in front of the right hip. Now you're going to inhale to walk yourself forward. Curl up your back toes. Lift your back knee and slide your left leg behind the right and sit yourself down. So essentially, and I'll face forward for this part, we're doing now seated what we were doing on our backs at the beginning, right? So Gomukhasana. So your right leg is crossing on top of the left. If that's just not going to happen today, you're going to take that Sukhasana, the cross leg sit, once more, right? So don't force it. Your feet ideally would be flexed. And then if your hips feel tight today, your heels are going to come in closer to your hips. If you're feeling more open, they're going to move away, right? You could stay right here, just like this, with your feet flexed. Ideally, both sits bones down on the ground, with your chest lifted and your shoulders back. So I will tell you, this one is challenging for me in some ways, and so I used to skip it all the time. Every practice, I would do something different because I couldn't do it. And so guess what? Years passed and I still couldn't do it. So if you're trying to grow your practice, sit with whatever it is that is uncomfortable, not to the point of pain, but you've got to let your body unfold. So from here, you can take your right arm up, say hello to your plant, drop your right hand in between your shoulder blades. You could just take your left hand to your right elbow and sit right here with a little tricep stretch. You could release your left arm, wrap it around the small of your back, and then take your left fingertips up so that they're trying to meet your right fingertips. And then allow for the back of your skull to press into the underside of your right forearm and keep your chin slightly lifted. From here, you could hinge forward. This is another great spot for your strap if the fingertips aren't quite reaching to one another, or grab onto your shirt. And breathe. If you lean forward, slowly lift yourself back up and release your arms. All right, so from here, I'm gonna face back forward for you. You're just gonna unravel your legs and extend your legs long. You can take a deep bend to your knees. You could also use your strap here and wrap it around the balls of your feet. Relax your shoulders back and down. Take an inhale. And then hinge forward at your hips with your exhale. Take your chest towards your thighs. But the same thing, you want all 5 toes to point back towards you. You breathe in and out. Good, y'all. Then you'll slowly lift your chest back up. Cross your feet at your ankles. Rock forward. Bring your hands down to the ground and step back into your downward facing dog. We'll all meet here. You might notice a difference in how your right leg feels from the left, or you might not, right? Just pay attention, be aware. And once you're ready, take an inhale, bend your knees to look forward. And on the exhale, as many or as few steps as you need to get your feet to the top of your mat. On your inhale, take a halfway lift. As you exhale, bring your chest and your hands back down. Step your right foot back. You're going to soften your right knee down to your mat. Bring both of your hands to the inside of your left foot and slide your left foot over. Roll your shoulders back and down. It's an open chest. Your navel draws in and up towards your spine. Breathe here, feeling this first lizard on the left side now. You might come down to your forearms if it's calling to you, if it's available to you. But never just because you think it's the harder thing to do, right? If you need to take those little hip sways or circles to kind of feel out what's going on, that's available. Then you could let your left knee kind of splay out to the left, but you keep zipping your low belly up so that there's no sagging of your low back, right? Good, y'all. And then you'll bend your right knee. If you're going to go there, you could loop your strap around your right ankle, your right foot, right? So do what you need to do. You could reach your left arm back. Whatever you need. Sometimes when I have the strap on here, sometimes even whenever I don't have the strap, but I'm more open than I feel today, I really work on rotating my left shoulder forward with my hand to my foot, right? So today that doesn't sound fun, so I'm going to be here enjoying this. Watch your right shoulder. You could also come down to your right forearm and reach back and catch your foot. So many places to go, so many places to stay. And it's a soft release of your right foot back down to the ground. Release your strap if you were using it. Come back onto your hands and slide your left foot back towards the center of your mat. Your left knee tracks over the heel of the ankle. As you inhale, pull your heart forward. On the exhale, shift yourself back and straighten your left leg and flex your toes towards your shin. As you inhale, come right back forward. Bend your left knee. Maybe you lift your chin. Exhale, shift it back. Straighten your left leg. One more. Inhale, walk it forward. Feel your right hip flexor. The right side psoas. And then you exhale, shift yourself back. Straighten your left leg. Let your toes flex back towards your shin. And you're thinking of your tailbone extending more towards the back of your mat as your heart moves forward. You want a long, strong spine. And all 5 toes flex back towards your shin. The second and the third toe point straight to the sky. Now from here, you could take an inhale, just slightly lift your chest so you have an extended spine. And on the exhale, drop your right hand to the outside of your left leg. Flex your toes back towards your shin. Just feel out your IT on the left side, right? And you pull your left hip back and your right hip forward. Relax your shoulders. Good, y'all. And then you'll come right back to center. Take an inhale here. On the exhale, dial your left big toe inward like you're trying to get your left foot to go flat with your outer edge, your outer arch going parallel to the top of your mat. It might not get anywhere close to that. It's fine. I just want you to know the direction that you're moving in as you pull your left hip back. And you breathe. And then with control, rotate your left toes back up to the sky. Take an inhale. Slide or lift your left heel and drop it down in front of your right knee as you exhale. Pull your left hip back again. Take an inhale. And then dial your left pinky toe down to the ground as you exhale. So you're flexing the sole of your foot towards the top of your mat. Pull your left hip back, your right hip forward. Breathe. I feel that one today on this side for sure. All right, y'all, let your left toes point back to the sky. Slide your left foot back over right in front of your left hip. On your inhale, walk yourself forward. Curl up your back toes. Lift your back knee. And as you exhale, slide your right knee behind the left. You're going to sit this down. So ideally, you are crossing your left leg completely on top of the right. They also call this like a knee pile. Your feet are flexed. If this feels terrible or it's not even approachable, it's all good. Just cross your left leg in front of the right and a cross leg, just how we started, right? Now both sits bones root down into the ground. If you're feeling a little bit more open, you take your heels farther away from your hips. If you're feeling a little bit tighter, you bring your heels in towards your hips. You can just sit here for a moment and get acclimated on what's happening in the bottom part of your body. Breathe and root down through your sits bones. On your next inhale, reach your left arm out and up. As you exhale, you drop your left hand in between your shoulder blades. Lift your chin slightly so you feel the back of your skull pressing into the soft side of your left forearm. And then you could just take your right hand to your left elbow and hang here with the tricep stretch. If you need a little bit extra, you're going to wrap your right forearm around the small of your back and reach your right fingertips up. Now remember, anytime you're taking a bind with your arms, the upper arm bones are internally rotated in the shoulder socket, right? So that's going to help you get into your bind. You can grab your shirt, maybe your fingers interlock, or you can use your strap here. You can also stay lifted or exhale, hinge forward. Breathe. If you're melted over your legs on your inhale, bring yourself back up. On the exhale, release your arms. Let your hands come back behind you and unravel your legs. This time, coming into a wide straddle. So let your legs come out to like a wide V. You're gonna flex both feet. So you're not coming like all the way out to a wide split, but it is a straddle. You want your knees and your toes to point up. And then I bring my hands behind my hips, roll my shoulders back, inhale to lift and kind of roll through my hips. And on the exhale, you come forward and you stop when you feel sensation and you kind of hang out there. You don't want to feel this in your gluteal fold where your glutes and your hamstrings connect. You don't want to feel this in your knee joint at all. So like where the insertion points are, like where your hamstring really like connects to your knee also, right? So you might take a soft bend to the knees if you feel that, or you bring your feet in closer. You breathe, relax your brows. Think of a long, strong spine. And as you're ready, slowly bring your shoulders back over your hips. You might use your hands to kind of lift your legs and bring them back to center. And you can shake them out. Now cross your feet at the ankles, come forward. And then step your feet back. You're on your knees like in a modified plank. Point your elbows back and come all the way down to your belly. Take your forehead down. And you're going to bring your forearms and your elbows to the earth, attempting to make a number 11. So you want your shoulders over your elbows, and you want your wrists in front of your elbows, and then your fingers are spread wide. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your collarbones, and your gaze is just to the top of your mat, so there's no creases in the back of your neck. Now breathe here and create the movement of drawing your elbows towards your hips and vice versa. There's no pain in the low back because you have your belly pulled in enough, your navel towards your spine. If even then you still feel something in your lumbar spine, I want you to take the top of your pubic bone and draw it towards your navel. Breathe. Try to keep all 10 toenails down. All right, now from here, take an inhale. Cross your right arm underneath your left with your palm facing up, and then cross your left arm with your palm facing up. So they call this, it's a horrible name, but it's straight jacket pose. But essentially your right arm is actually touching your body, and then your left arm is crossed underneath your right. Your palms are facing up. Now, ideally, you kind of rock forward. You could rest your forehead down. You could also rest your forehead. I'm going to take a soft block over here and rest my forehead on the block. Breathe here. You might have to move your arms around. Find a space so that you can really get into the outer shoulder. Back a bit. You'll press down into your left elbow and forearm and unravel your right arm out. And then come right back to your Sphinx pose. So your forearms and your elbows down, your palms down to the ground, lift your chest. Now if this fits like a glove and you could actually take a little bit more, you're going to press your palms down and lift your elbows. This is called seal pose. Now if you get here and you feel something pinching in your low back, I just want you to bring your elbows and your forearms right back down. And breathe. One more inhale. And then this time, start to cross your left arm underneath the right. And then you'll cross your right arm in front of the left. You might have to move around and kind of find your spot, like if it's below your chest, above it, right? It's a hard one to kind of get. So I had to move around a little bit and actually move my block this time. Let your palms face up. Find that spot and just be there. All right, now press your right forearm and your elbow down so you can release your left arm out. Come right back into one last Sphinx or seal pose. You do you. And then draw your hands back nice and slow. Lift your hips, pass through your box pose. Move into, I would take a traditional child's pose. Knees and inner thighs towards one another so that your chest just drapes down on your legs. And your spine is supported by your thighs. And on your inhale, slowly press up back into your box pose. And then cross your feet at your ankles and sit back onto your heels. Now, this is the part where you could grab your bolster or your pillow and place it long ways on your mat. And then back your hips up to your pillow. And then I'm going to have you kind of rest back for a second, but I'm going to drop your knees to the left and come on to like your left hip. So it looks like you're going to like lay down and go to sleep, right? Then I'm going to have you twist even a little bit more. Try to keep your knees stacked and lay your torso down on top of this pillow or your bolster. Bring your arms out to frame your pillow. So it's a twist. Now, if this feels okay, your face is facing the same way as your knees. If you need a little bit of an extra twist, you can turn your face, take your right ear down to the pillow or to your bolster, and gaze to the left. Coming right back into center, go nice and slow. Bring yourself to a seated position facing forward. And then you're going to shift your hips slightly to the left, drop your knees to the right. Try to stack your knees. Bring your bolster or your pillow up towards your right hip, right thigh. And then twist yourself open towards your support. Take your right ear down. Bring your forearms down to frame your support. If that fits like a glove, you take your left ear down. And gaze in the opposite direction. Just for a moment here. And when you're ready, bring your hands down to the ground. Lift yourself up nice and slow. You're going to turn right back around facing the front of your mat. You can bring your bolster or your pillow to your low back and release back onto your support. Now here you could extend your legs forward for your Shavasana. You could take butterfly legs. That feels good to you, sliding blocks under the outside of your thighs or your knees. I'm going to bring my feet down, take them about mat's width distance apart, and then drop my knees in towards one another for a collapsed bridge, and let my arms come down by the side, body palms face up. Close down your eyes, and breathe. And rest. And if what you need is to be here a little bit longer, just tune me out and stay right where you are. Otherwise, begin to deepen your breath, to wiggle your fingers and your toes. You can roll over to the side that is calling to you this morning, or you can just kind of rock up to your comfortable, easy sit right where you are on your mat. Once you get there, sitting up nice and tall, roll your shoulders back and down. Your hands can rest in your lap or come to heart center. Whatever feels most appropriate to you. So we take this final moment, this pause, to be grateful for our bodies, for what they do for us today, to be hopeful for tomorrow. I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. Have an awesome weekend. Namaste.